Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the UnFuckIt Discussion. It is the fucking middle of February already. What the fuck? Like, for as long as January is, it's like February's been this long. Anyone else? I don't know. Anyways, we got a bunch of stuff we're going to get into tonight. I want to throw open the floor because I want discussion on this. I'm trying to sort through topics, and I'm going to read everyone the topics. If you guys are in the Facebook Unfuckers group, you'll know the poll that I put up earlier this week that everyone's been adding to. I think we're up to 80 different pieces that have been entered. How do we organize this? How do we take the information? I had an idea. I had an idea of trying to organize it almost like into trees, where you have one base theory at the bottom of the tree, and how many of the other theories fit into that family, if you will. But I'm going to run through the list with everyone. I want to say hi to everyone out there on Twitch. Hi, guys. I do have Twitch chat open tonight. I don't know how long it'll stay open. I will try to keep an eye on it, though. If not, Brianna's in there, and she can keep track of things. Okay, so I'm going to pull up this lovely list, right, if I can. There we go. So the topic that I put up, and I'll read you my post. If I can find it again. Holy crap. Here we go. Okay, I said, let's have a conversation about theories, and beliefs. I'd like for us to create a list of them here. What are all the theories that we've discussed and reviewed and looked into as a group or even individually? It can be added into the category of may or may not be true. And perhaps have also been distractions, divisions, disinformation as well. Feel free to add the additions that you think should be separately listed. We're going to get into it tonight. Okay, so I got to expand this. So yeah, there's now 80 entries on this. So I'm going to read them out to you guys. And then we'll figure out where we're going to go from there. So in no particular...
Share your screen.
What was that?
Share your screen.
I'd rather not, because it comes up with people's personal comments and stuff, and
Okay, no worries.
I has gotten into trouble before for sharing stuff from UU because other people don't want other people to know that they're in the UU group or whatever, and then I don't want to compromise anyone's privacy. So what I will do is I'll make a big copy paste of the list that'll go with the archive article to go along with this. Right. Where is it? There we go. Okay, so in no particular order, because if you do Facebook polls, you know they kind of make a fucking mess of this. So number one, reincarnation, cycles, and loops, time loops. Number two, multiple timelines. Number three, other dimensional beings. Number four, pole shift, whether magnetic or physical. Number five, galactic energy, galactic wave. Next is simulated universe, a la the Matrix, or however, again, we've got that as one lump, but that may have to be kind of divided out. Next, no trees or the giant trees, Devil's Tower, etc. Next, prophecies, be it religion, like religious or ancient people's prophecies. Mandela effect. Home. The Anunnaki. The event. We've got someone who is unmuted. Hold on. There we go. Baron Trump's Marvelous Underground Journey and the Last President, which was those books, basically the theory that Trump is a time traveler. Hollow Earth, Ascension, religions, all of them. And if you feel we have to separate some of the religions out, we could, but let's just lump them together for the moment. Next, Tartaria. Next, reality manifested by collective consciousness and difficulty to separate from simulated reality. Next, global financial reset, mass arrests, geoengineering, chemtrails, HARP, NextRed, fucking with our skies and weather. Next, reptilians, Galactic Federation et al., as in all of them, Ashtar Command, whatever you want to call them, the Blue Chicken Group, etc. Next, mud flood, social media as forms of societal grooming and engineering, underground bases, the whole New Age meme, Antarctica, which is a good one, Big Pharma, secret space program, Hollyweird, i.e. gender identity issues, satanic ritual involvement, etc. Next is Planet X, QAnon, celebrity clone glitches, false flags, the construct, extreme diets, paleo, vegan, etc., synchronicities, Agenda 21, AI takeover, flat earth, manifestation, vaccines, archons, the Dracos, left and right political parties. I think we can say that's pretty much every politics in general. Black goo, NPCs, bots, soulless beings, savior memes, and whether or not those should be listed separately, do weapons, grays, QHHT, astrological cosmology, the transgender agenda, electric magnetic plasma multiverse, Chinese white dragons, NASA, blue chickens. We've got someone unmuted again. Hold on. Oh, come on. Seriously, my computer is being just retarded at the moment. There we go. No, mute. There we go. Got it. Okay. So right, we said the blue chickens, super soldiers, Joseph Campbell termed the hero's journey, cymatics, the pneumo, programmable water, Emoto and the fourth phase of water, DNA, climate change, genetic modification and transhumanism, Nasara, the booming sounds heard worldwide. Okay, soulless backdrop people, which we've also already mentioned. Conscious self-control, not to be my own parrot. Okay, that was your funny star. Mind wipe, erasing of life's memories. World War II, Nazis, Holocaust, and Vril. Human right, heart versus head agendas. Cryptocurrencies, bird drones, mass bird extinctions. Disappearing shorelines, triangle stealth hidden in a cloud, type ships I'm assuming, yellow rose from Texas, gematria, and indigo and crystal children. Who wants to recite those all back to me now? Come on, off memory. Come on, you can do it. Just no. Okay, so we have this massive list, and some of them will fit in together. So, for example, chemtrails got mentioned, as well as HARP and geoengineering. They kind of go together. Political stuff kind of could all be put in together, and religious stuff. What I'm trying to get at, if I can express myself, which is highly doubtful at this point, is the concept of some of these theories, most of these theories, have other pieces that we've studied that fit into a family tree, if you will. So, for example, we could talk about the simulated universe, the idea that this is a simulation, and then what pieces of all these other ones that we've mentioned can fit under that basic premise, that basic theory that covers all of what other pieces does it cover. If we do things, for example, I don't know, what is the other one? If you talk about religion, You talk about the religion, is if you talk that, take that, and well, what does that cover in there? And you can talk about, then we get into the Vatican stuff, we get into the prophecy things, etc., etc., and of course you get into financial control and political control and all of this, false flags. Careful, Nancy, try not to cut off any fingers with that. So what I'd like to do today is, tonight, I'd like to try and kind of formulate a way of discussing this. Does that make sense? A way that we can look at this is in a greater picture, because we've talked about all of these things so many times, and sometimes we get sidetracked by other stuff. Like you study one thing that last month, and then it's fucking gone because you're distracted by what you're studying this month. What are these things? And yeah, Teresa, you could very well be right. It could be all very profoundly connected. Obviously it is. If we're all experiencing it, obviously it is all connected. But some pieces are going to connect differently than others. And I'm trying to get a look at it as a whole picture. And I don't know if it's even physically possible for us to do that. Like I said, I don't know that there's a piece of software out there that we could start kind of connect the dots between all these, this goes to here, but then there's this that comes off of here, et cetera, et cetera. It'd be one hell of a fucking project if we could pull it all together. One of the other things we didn't add to that list, I've just realized it now, is the physical symptoms that we're going through ourselves, because that's one of our main conversations, and we're going to get into that a little later tonight too, because again, it's been another week of just insanity. Oh, okay, Deb, that's a good idea. Deb just said, couldn't the pieces be divided into 3 piles? Physical, mental, spiritual, for lack of another word. I suppose that's one way it can be looked at. Yeah, Rebecca, we need a map maker, and someone posted a few of them, and I went and I looked at some of them. But of course, if they're free apps, you get very limited both how much you can add to them and what you can do to them, right? So everyone wants you to pay for all of these software programs. So it's trying to find the free apps is a little bit difficult. Yeah, I know, Deb, but spiritual is the only word that I have for the internal as well. It's the one word that we can use that we all comprehend what we're talking about. Even if we don't have the same exact definition, we have a basic idea that we're on the same page. So where do we start with this? Now, one of the main, well, I'm going to start out here. I'm going to start with basically the simulated universe theory, because this is one that we have talked about fucking on and off for years now. Like literally years we've been going after this, and we bounce back and we come back into it and we look at it. See, I should have made a graphic with all this. I don't know if I can make a copy paste. Let me see something. I'm going to see if I can make a copy paste that we can somehow put up. I don't know if this is going to work. Oh, yeah, it will. Hold on. Go up, go up, go up, go up. Keep going. Come on. Oh, come on. Seriously. I didn't realize the list was quite this long. Holy crap. Okay. I'm going to try and do something here really, really quick, everyone. Hopefully this will work. It's a way of, we can put it on the screen that everyone can kind of look at it. Maybe. Oh no, it makes a mess of it. Okay, we can't do it that way. Sorry guys, I was hoping I could just drop it into one of the draw programs as a copy paste, but it literally makes a complete and utter mess of it. And Mike, I get what you're saying, that all is mental in its origin. Yes. I'm looking at the more broad spectrum, because we are physical. We have a physical reality right now. We have a physical reality right now. And we can talk about the things that we feel, the things that we emotionally feel, the things that we physically feel, the things that we physically see with our own eyes. So I'm trying to keep it in this realm of this reality that we're in. Because right now, regardless of anything else, we are here. We're here in this now. We can always talk about the future, where we want to go, where we want to be, et cetera, but right now we're right here. So I want to talk about this here, and from the perspective of this is where I am, right? This is where I am. So regardless of whether this is an avatar or that got a conscious person who's somewhere in some pod, a la the Matrix, et cetera, somewhere else, I still have to kind of talk about here, this here that we're in. You guys are off and running. You guys are hysterical. If we look at the simulated universe, pretty much all of the subjects that we've talked about, that I've listed off, all fit within that story, if you will. They could all fit within that story in one way or another, especially when we start talking about things like multiple universes. We talk about multiple dimensions, Mandela effects, etc. And we've had this conversation, pardon me, over and over and over and over and over again. But even if this is a simulation, or I should say, regardless of whether it is a simulation, we're still here. We're in the simulation. So what is going on around us still affects us from our perspective that we're in right this moment. Does that make sense? You guys are all off on QAnon stuff, etc., etc. Okay, look, let's start with the whole QAnon stuff. Okay, I mean, we can get right into exactly that stuff. What do we know? We have someone putting information out, a faceless person or group of people putting out all this information that's purportedly in the background, deep undercover, etc., etc. Now, some of the stuff that we've talked about on subjects is, for example, mass arrests, which is the top that everyone's talking about in the chat right now. Mass arrests. But this has been told to us over and over and over again. And that's why I said I've never followed the QAnon stuff, because when I dug into it, it felt like a complete repeat of everything I went through in 2012 and 2013, when I was heavily involved in all of the mass arrests, Nasara, Dinar RV, political stuff. A lot of the stuff that I was seeing being put out by the QAnon was literally a repeat of shit that I got told in 2012 and early 2013. So, for me personally, I always say, pics or it didn't happen, right? Like, you got to show me solid proof, because I'm not going to keep going along saying, oh, it's happening, oh, it's happening, oh, it's happening. Because so far, I haven't seen anything that I call concrete proof. And it's been ongoing for over a year now. Like the QAnon stuff has been since basically, November 2017? We're now February 2019. This is the kind of stuff that I'm talking about when we talk about theories and stuff that are put out there. That's why I talk about the fact of, like, what is real versus what is a distraction. We don't know. We don't know. We don't have answers, because none of us are insiders in the White House or have omnipotent powers to be able to, say what is happening. But where do we draw the line? Like, where do you draw a line in the sand and say, I can't do this anymore? For me, I found that line many, many years ago. Same could be said with religion, right? How many of us have religious upbringings who were told that, Armageddon's coming, or the end of days is coming, or, pick one, the rapture, I don't know, pick one subject. And it's been going on and on and on and on and on and on, and on, continuously pulled over us, continuously. You guys are just, wow. You guys are over there, the chat is just going off. So I want to get some opinions from you guys. Like, when we're talking about this stuff, we all have our limits. We all have things that we've revisited, ideas and theories, etc., that we've gone into, and we've been down that rabbit hole, and you come out the other side, and a lot of times we make a decision. We make a choice, we make a judgment, if you will, and we say, I believe it, I don't believe it. Just doesn't wash for me. Yeah, rapture is only a thing in North America. I know, I laugh about that one too, but I did have to throw it in there. We have a lot of American viewers, so rapture is only going to happen in America, apparently. So this is one of those pieces, right? We look at all these pieces that are in front of us, and we have to try and discern. Now, a lot of the stuff, as I've said all along, is we have to kind of remain neutral on it, right? Because we don't have the answers. We don't have the answers as to what's going on. We can hypothesize, and we can do what we're doing right now. Like, we can sit there and talk about, for example, the simulated universe, and we can say, okay, well, does this fit with that? Does this fit with that? Does this make sense under this context, etc.? All we can do is just theorize, right? Yeah, and hopium. And this is one of my biggest worries, Mike, you're right. Hopium. I fucking love that word. Is they keep feeding people hopium, which falls into the savior meme, right? Because all the hopium is always for an external savior. There's always a savior that comes along with the hopium. So Ben Fulford and Alexander Romanoff and the OPPT and the NESARA and the RV, and it's all a hopium. Now, the one worry I've always had through all of this is if they keep feeding people the hopium and crash it, hopium and crash it, hopium and crash it, that perhaps when the real thing comes along, we'll be so biased, we'll be so jaded, it'll be like, talk to the hand, fuck that shit, right? Hope, man. Yeah. And it could very well be the reason. It could very well be the reason why people have talked about the whole thing, for example, with the yellow vest stuff. And they keep pointing to, oh, well, Occupy Wall Street and all the rest of it. I said, yeah, but if you keep throwing all these different protests together, like Occupy Wall Street, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, then when the real thing happens, people just sweep it under the covers, right? They just go, it's all bullshit. The yellow vest stuff, well, it's just another Occupy Wall Street type thing, right? But we live in the now. We live in the, I shouldn't even say, we live in the now, but we live in the here. So for me, as I keep coming back to the basic, I have a family that I have to look after, right? I have a family that I have to take care of. So I'm going to do the best things that I can, make the best choices I can, if you will, to look after them. That's difficult. It's fucking difficult when you have all of these rabbit holes continuously in front of us. Yeah, Deb just said, it is part of the thing to tear people up, build up their hopes and tear them down until they're so disillusioned they will not protest when the saviors come in and fix stuff. As in full, oh crap, there goes it's all going, as in full enslavement. All of that is part of their manifestos. Yeah, and that could very well be another one. But again, we've got everything that we throw on the table. There always feels to be two sides to it. And like I said, it's when you're trying to add the pieces together. Now, I can talk about, for example, the stuff that I've been doing and all the research I've been doing recently. Looking at the geomagnetics, the magnetic sphere of the planet, and then watching the physical things that we can see. Not the hopium, not the if wishes were fishes, not the stories that we get told, but the actual things that we can see. So what are the things that we can see right now? Or not even just, I don't want to just exclude other senses, not just see. What are the things that we are experiencing that we have the ability to witness firsthand? We look at things, so for example, we've got the craziness with the geological stuff. Earthquakes, volcanoes, tidal waves, just absolutely bizarre physical anomalies happening on the planet. Mass cracks opening up, sinkholes opening up, all of these types of things. To the meteorological, so the storms, like the hailstorms again in Saudi Arabia, rains and floods and mudslides and heat waves that have been insane in some areas of the world. Well, we've had the other areas of the world fucking freezing. I feel sorry for all you guys in southwestern Ontario. I know you all got hit again last night. You guys are going to need like a massive amount of shovels to dig out of this one, I think. We have the physical symptoms. And we've had the physical symptoms we've watched, right? Like we've watched as they've kind of, over the years, they've kind of escalated to the point of, like we said, like now it's gotten completely freaking insane. And I want to get into that discussion in a little bit, because some of the stuff that we're witnessing right now and feeling right now has been just epic insanity. Emotionally, mentally, physically, broad spectrum across the board. Yeah, so in Tasmania is a perfect example. It's summer in Tasmania. They had a snowstorm while they're having wildfires, like massive wild. Basically, as Ben said the other day, the island of Tasmania is on fire, and they had snow. It's February. It's their summertime, and they had snow. Now, a higher elevation snow, but still the kind of thing that everyone was like, yeah, this doesn't happen. Snow in Hawaii. Now, again, the tops of the three big mountains in Hawaii, they always get snow in the winter. It's quite common. But the snowstorm they just had, it was Maui, wasn't it? The lowest the snow has ever come down was something like 7,400 feet, or 74,000 feet, I guess, was the lowest elevation they've ever had snow. And this last snow that they had last night or the day before was down lower than 5,000 feet, which has never, ever fucking happened before. The massive snow that they had in Greece, the massive snow in Turkey, snow in Saudi Arabia. I was saying the frozen ponds and just out in the desert outside of Dubai, which is a desert. And they showed that the people were out there having to crack open the ponds so that the animals could drink out of the water because it was frozen solid. We have a huge amount of physical shit going on right now. So for me, my focus has been, because I'm looking really highly focused at now, what are the theories that we throw on the table that encompass all of these things? Yeah, now, okay, John, exactly. So that was reported in the Russian news, pardon me, the Russian satellites picked up flashes of light in the atmosphere. There was no storms, no clouds, nothing. but like massive flashes of light. And they're saying, oh, you don't know what it is. And it's called the plasma discharge, which I've been ranting about for fucking months. We're seeing this shit is playing out. So if we start throwing theories on the table, not all the theories kind of are going to fit to cover all the things that we're seeing. So does that mean we throw some of the theories away because they don't fit with the anomalies that we're seeing? Maybe not. Maybe we just don't comprehend what the anomalies are. So we can't really throw anything away at this point. Yeah, and that one with the Russian satellite picking up the flashes of light in the atmosphere, that's a major one. That's a really, really major one. I posted pictures, again, of transformers blowing and breakers going on the transformers on the power lines where all of a sudden the breakers are opening because there's so much electricity going through the lines that they have to open them. And you're seeing like the lightning coming out of the power lines, like crazy, crazy arced plasma, electricity arcing, doing the whole spark gap jump. Those are automatic things that are set into the power lines to stop the power lines from exploding. When the energy gets too heavy, they open it up and release it because they have to just release it. They can't leave this stuff going through the lines because it'll blow up the lines. And yeah, more transformers blew up. Oh, really, Jules? Overnight in Sydney, more transformer substations blew up overnight in Sydney. Yep, crazy stuff. So these are the kind of anomalies that we're seeing right now. Yeah, and Doppy, that's one of the things that we look at, right? Yeah, I'm going to say that to Mike too. Mike, just don't, we're going to have to just turn Mike's camera off for a second. Okay. The magnetosphere is weaker, therefore the electrical discharges are, and that's what I've been talking about, especially since September. That's one of the theories we have to throw on the table. Now, does that mean, so for example, I just posted suspicious observers. Ben Davidson was just on Veritas Radio with Mel Fabregas and did quite a good, and unfortunately I'm not a member, so I only got to hear the first half of it. But he had really quite a good overall discussion. And what was actually very interesting was some of the stuff they talked about with the CIA. So the stuff that we know of how information has been buried, et cetera, and how he's placed it together and shown how certain people who've released information used to work for the CIA before they became professors and then released information. Does that mean that I agree with everything that he talks about? No. I don't think that he's got the full picture, and I think there's some information that he is just not looking at, right? But we have to stop throwing shit away. People go, oh, suspicious observers, oh, he's a shell, he's just a paid shell, he's just disinformation, you just gotta, no, I'm sorry, because the guy's actually putting some very good information out there. Now, I will say, I don't think that he's as far along as most of us are. He knows his science stuff, but he's not an unfucker. I don't mean to sound like grandiose in saying that, but he's not an unfucker. He doesn't have some of the overall fucking comprehension that we do of like all of these fucking crazy ass subjects. Teresa, that's one of the ones we have to put on the table too. Teresa just said, can we be seeing cause and effect coming through in our evolving? Absolutely. Absolutely. I've said it for years now, years and years and years. My gut feeling has always been that there is going to be something that is going to happen, whether it's galactically, etc., that could very well trigger the next expansion of humankind. Wake up our latent DNA. Turn on the brains, parts of our brains that we're not even fucking using yet. Absolutely, it could very well be. But, and it's, so for, we get into prophecy then. Like we talk about prophecy, right? So like the Hopi Indians, the Yuga, stuff that's from the Bhagavad Gita. People like to point to, for example, the end product, the final product of it all, of like, and this is where we'll end up. We'll end up here in like the golden age, or we'll end up here and it'll be enlightenment, etc. But when you read all those prophecies, there's some serious shit that goes down before we get there. Like, serious shit. It's the same thing even when you want to talk biblically, right? Revelations, before you get to that end prize of like, oh, there's a fucking lot of shit that goes down. Yeah, which is, and you're right, Teresa, which is why it's so important of the unity of everyone coming together and working together, right? Because right now, the shit is going down. And really, regardless of what is causing it, the shit is going down. So I'm always distracted by looking at the causes and effects. I can't help myself. I'm a research addict, right? Regardless of what's going on at the moment, the physicality of what we're experiencing right now is epically fucking insane. Seriously. Like, fuck. I'm just catching up on what's going on in the chats here. Yeah, the wild ride, exactly. Yeah, darkest moments before the dawn, right? Exactly. We're seeing fucking shit that is just epically insane. And it's every day now. Like, literally, since the new year, pretty much not a single day has gone by that I haven't seen a report on whatever topic, whether it's the physical stuff, like the geological stuff, etc., etc. Every single day, there's another piece that comes out that I literally sit at the screen and go, holy shit. Are you kidding me? Yeah, labor before birth. Yeah, Sheila, I hear you on that one. And I would say if we're going to equate this to childbirth, that we're in transition right now. 8 centimeters dilated, contractions are a minute apart and lasting 3 minutes long. That's about where we are right now, if you want to put it in childbirth terms. Which means that, like, good stuff happened at the end, like, but you still got to get through fucking transition. Cosmic birth pains. Yeah, exactly, Star. Well, hey, Teresa, you know what? Listen, I talked about that. Teresa just said how strange how the contrast shit is in essence what causes the awakening, right? And that contrast type stuff. When I watched Westworld, and there's the whole scene, and I've talked about this multiple times because I had a moment of just like, when the guy who created all the clone bots, if you will, in Westworld, says to the girl whose name's just gone right out of my head now, the lead bot, if you will, the girl who's the star of the show, and says to her, kind of like, when you could become conscious, it was a matter of how to get you there, and we tried all these different ways, and it just didn't work, and we finally realized that the only way to get you there was through pain anger, terror, all of the most horrific things imaginable to basically shock her into waking up into full consciousness, to become fully self-aware. And I said at the time, like, is that not fucking what the world we're living in right now? Like, we're living in that world right now. Terror, pain, horrific negativity. Like, I mean, literally, there's not a day goes by when you look at, if you go through social media, when you're not reading horrific articles about stuff that's happening in the world. Just unbelievable stuff that can, if you allow yourself to connect to it, can just rip your heart out. Literally rip your heart out when you read this stuff. So yeah, I don't know. We're in this world right now, regardless of whether it's physical, whether it's a hologram, whether it's a simulation, whether it's a corrupted reality, whether it is just a fucked reality. Regardless of what it is, we're here right now. So where do we go from here? Well said, Megan. Well said. Megan just said, the birthing pain, shifting, dismantling, etc. The chat just went off. Hold on. Let's go back up. The shifting, dismantling, etc. is unavoidable. As Danny said earlier, it's not just the now. It's not just the now that we're in, it's here as well. We live in a very dense 3D realm. A switch isn't going to flip and the world will magically unfuck itself. We have to hold the lines of what's coming while that's falling down. Well, what's falling down is going under, yeah? I mean, we've said that. We've said it over and over and over again. That's, a lot of us have perceived or have had this overwhelming thought that that's one of the reasons we're here, is just to hold the line. Sorry, I've just had a Game of Thrones with Hodor. Hold the door, hold the door, hold the door. I hate, terrible, I know. Yeah, you know what, Danny? But here's the thing. I don't believe it's all about this non-fuck stop working on ourselves. And I think that this is one of the things we need to get out of right now. And maybe this is one of the pieces that we need to call bullshit on. Because there's been this continuous thing. It's one of those new age holdovers about how we have to work on ourselves, work on yourself, work on yourself, work on yourself. Oh, well, you're feeling this way. Well, work on yourself. If you're feeling that way, oh, work on yourself. You're not dealing with your shit. You got to deal with your shit, and then you won't feel that way. That's kind of like a lot of that new age propaganda bullshit, right? What if it's not about working on ourselves? What if we keep putting ourselves through these fucking intense workouts of like, oh, I've got to figure out my shit because this shit keeps happening to me, and therefore it must be my fault because I didn't work on myself. What if it has nothing to do with that? Maybe the shit's happening to you because the shit's happening to you. Because the shit's happening to fucking everyone.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
I just wasn't sure. Well, yesterday was a really intense, rough day emotionally. And I'm going, what is going on? I missed most of this call. I had to deal with work issues. And I mean, I was in a low spot where I'm like fucking ready to, I'm done. I'm so done. And of course I did some meditating in air quotes. And I, got thinking, hold up. I didn't ask for this. I'm sick of this. Well, you chose this. You chose this. No fucking way. No way. I'm so done with it. Because I'm thinking, okay, if I'm supposed to like create and manifest going forward, what if I did that before? And I got not such great circumstances handed to us. So I'm thinking, you know what? Just live in this present and deal with whatever you've got to deal with. And that's what I got a roundabout today. And I've had a hell of a day. Again, and it's all technical this time. Yesterday was all emotional. I can't get my VPN on a laptop to work. I can't get to download any attachments on an Apple phone. Anyways.
Maybe it's something to do with Danny's, because apparently you and I are having the same day. And yesterday too. So maybe is anyone with the name Danny's just fucking cursed today and yesterday? I don't know.
I have no idea. But that's my take on it. I'm just tired of the whole game, frankly, and it is what it is.
And that's it. And I get you. It's so funny because you can almost say, I've had the worst week, except what do you call compared to the worst week too? Because literally each week has been like this, just a little more. I had a horrific week this week. Like the emotional roller coaster, this week and last week especially. Like fucking emotional roller coaster of just being so deeply sad, like grief-stricken to the point of almost being paralyzed with sadness. To being so angry, so frustrated and aggravated that you wanted to punch something, kick something, start smashing plates, anything. Depressed. And same thing, I can sit here and look at my life and go, okay, I've had some shitty shit this week. Pardon me. I've had my shitty moments this week, don't get me wrong. But all in all, my life's not that bad. And when I can get mad at people and get pissed off at situations that have happened, do they equate to the level of emotion that I felt that went along with it? No fucking way. But it's not just me. My kids, yesterday, my kids were, and for days, but yesterday was my youngest daughter's birthday yesterday. And while it was all happy on the surface, she was so angry inside. Like she just kept snapping at people and snapping, and we had a long conversation about it today, and she bawled her eyeballs out for about an hour solid because she doesn't understand. She's like, I don't know why I'm angry, but I'm so angry. She's 14. I have my dude who's 11 who is not really capable of talking about emotional stuff. He doesn't really have the connective to really put into words how he's feeling. But I've watched him literally be Jekyll and Hyde for the last 2 weeks. And it's not just me. I'm talking to all these friends of mine who are saying like their kids are literally losing their shit. And unfortunately, a lot of the kids who are, we will call them special needs, especially kids who are on the spectrum, they're just really, really not doing well right now. So it's not just us as adults, right? Do you know what I mean? It's very easy to say, oh, well, we've got adults here, we got like shit. We're dealing with our shit type stuff. It's the little ones, and they're dealing with the exact same shit that we're dealing with. Yeah, Jess, okay, toddler, super sensitive today, almost no appetite as well. Yeah, one of my kids has pretty much stopped eating for the last 2 days, other than chocolate birthday cake. Funnily enough, he has an appetite for that. But when we're seeing it in this broad spectrum, and it doesn't matter whether they're in Australia, they're in Europe, they're in the Northern Hemisphere, Southern Hemisphere, North America, it doesn't matter even where you are. We're still seeing this play out. And it's fucking hard. And yet, there's this continuous meme running where you're supposed to blame yourself for it. Oh, I created this. This is something I need to work on. No, I'm sorry. I don't fucking believe that shit anymore. We're experiencing this shit because we're experiencing this shit. And I think that we have to be in the now. Like we really do have to kind of keep ourselves present in this now and just keep working through it minute by minute. Teresa, you've got your hand up, love. Would you want to add to that?
No, it was something earlier actually, and I think that
I didn't see your hand was up because I've got Zoom is all
It's
screwed
okay.
since they got
But I will say, while we're on this, how beautiful it is, because just that list alone, and I mean, it sparks so many important things within us to consider. And this is just the perfect conversation. I love it. And thank you for bringing it up. I'll say that while I'm on the mic.
That list opens a lot of doors to discuss, like really, really opens a lot of doors to discuss. Because all of it is stuff that some of us have accepted.
Yeah, how do we stay in the present moment with the list like that can be never ending? And if we continued that list, I don't think that nobody would ever stop the list. And that's I think what I was going to say is, it's like, how do we remain in the present moment when there's so much multidimensionality? There's so much to everything. Like Mike was saying about, everything being mind. Well, we've got 7 billion pieces of them right now that we're all kind of together with. So this will never end. I mean, the whole point of all of this is, how can we be in the present moment with so much that's of interest and to learn and to understand? And, it's like trying to come to a neutral point about all of it and yet still be interested in it. It's a paradox, just like the darkness helps us grow. How do we honor that darkness? I know the darkness is what got me where I'm at today. Yep. But that doesn't mean that the people that hurt me and took me there, am I going to, have anything else to do with? But at the same time, it's like the greatest gift. I mean, how weird is that when you think about it? It's freaking weird. That's a huge subject in itself, and I'll close.
No problem. Earl, you got your hand up, hon. Did you want to add something?
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing like things about governments right now, like in Canada, like that our government I get feeling that's gonna fall apart soon. But on a personal note for me, like right now, I'm drinking like coffee and that, but when I drink it, like it's hot, but yet it's cold at the same time. So it's like I can drink it more sooner than normally. It's a weird feeling.
Well, you know what? Okay, so Teresa brought up the question of how do we stay present? And I think that's a big one. Because, and I talked about this last year quite a bit, is to go along with the hopium, one of the biggest distractions of all the hopium, whether it's religious, political, new age, it doesn't matter what level it is it keeps people continuously looking to the future. They're living for some future moment that's going to come, whether it's a religious rapture, whatever, or it's going to be a mass arrest, or it's going to be doesn't pick one. People live in this future where all their attention is on this future event that would like to have happen. So much so that we forget to live in the now. And I mean, I've done it myself. I've done it myself multiple fucking times. You'd think I'd learned my lesson by now. I've done it myself. Where you get, so this event is going to happen soon, it's going to happen soon. And you literally put off everything in the now. You don't do the shit in the now because there's always this event going to happen soon. So that's one of the, when I talk about being present, is that's one of them, is kind of putting off the continuously looking to some murky, misty event that could, maybe, should, might happen sometime in some perceived future, and live in our daytime. Live in our now, right?
I can remember going to church and they're like, And I go to them, you know, we can have world peace right now. We can absolutely have that. And they're like, no, we can't have that because we have to wait for Jesus to come back. When Jesus comes back, it's like, no. And it's sad when I think about it. It's like, we've given our own personal power away as a world, you know.
Well,
And
and
it's
what
sad.
Teresa just said this: what better way to steal our very life?
May I quickly bomb?
Sorry, was that boss?
Yeah. I said, may I quickly bomb? Yeah, but keep in mind, this system keeps the normal people or pretty much everyone to a degree thinking about the future. What is when you get old? You have to pay, you have to save, you have to pay a loan. But
Yep.
then also now the system found a way to also haunt us into the past. What did I say last week on Twitter or on Facebook? Can that haunt me? Can that destroy my job, right? Like, and then you also have can you guys remember that? I can't remember how that movie was called. Was that little girl called Momo, and there were these time bankers, you know, stole the time of the people, like an old 80s movie.
I don't remember. I don't know. Does
Yeah,
anyone?
they were trying to steal off time and get mighty over this, right? And there was this little girl trying to blow up the whole scheme because they came up like bankers, literally talking about time and while stealing your time, so to speak.
Yeah, and in more ways than one. More ways than one. You get people. You talk about stealing your time and stealing your lives. Japan now, in some cities like in Tokyo, in order to get a mortgage to buy a house, you're mortgaging your grandchildren. You have to show that not only you have children, but that your children's children will be fertile enough to have children to be able to carry on the mortgage.
Holy shit, really?
Yes.
Oh my god.
Yes. Okay, so think about stealing time. Think about stealing the next generation's time. Like that
But
is,
hang on,
we're talking extreme.
Isn't the government that already doing the same scheme
Oh, yeah.
on one level with get babies and yada yada yada? I mean, I heard this week, who was that? The guy of Hungary, Orban, said to all the females, of all the women, if you have 4 children, you never ever have to pay income tax, right? Because
Well,
they know.
you never have to pay income tax. They pay a special bracket.
Yes. But keep in mind, this is now like the same scheme: reproduce, bring people into, get consumers, consume, produce, yada yada yada, right?
Yeah. But there's also a certain aspect to that too, and I can talk from the flip side of that. Is you know, all these Western countries talk about they've got zero population growth, or as it is now, it's now negative population growth in a lot of countries. Like Sweden is in like serious negative population, and Japan too, serious negative population growth, right? And they all talk about, oh, we have this problem. Oh, we have this problem. We need to, you know, it's like, well, let's discuss why you have this problem, because none of them want to actually talk about the vaccines that are happening that are making people sterile, and the genetically modified food that is fucking up everyone's hormones, and the fact that we now have a birth rate of, in the US now has the lowest, or sorry, not the lowest, the worst infant and maternal mortality rates of every developed nation in the US. More women die giving birth and more babies die at birth in the US than any other developed nation in the world. And some third world nations have better reputations than the US. Okay, so you have all this stuff, right? What about the fact of the cost of living? People can't afford to have children. The responsible people, unlike myself, are choosing to not have more than one child because they know they can't afford to have more than one child. They've already done the responsible tallying up what's going to cost to educate this child, what's it going to cost to food, et cetera, and gone, oh, well, one child is all we can afford. These are the things that haven't been put forward by these governments. So, I mean, no one wants to talk about why there's a zero birth rate or zero population growth, right? Or, and like I said, now it's to the point where it's way less than zero. Some of them are 2 and 3% under.
Hey, may I quickly throw this in the room? But keep in mind, there is now an industry that thrives on dead babies, right? Like that makes money with abortions. Then also do stuff with the aborted kid, right?
Yep.
That is also doing this part. Plus, what you said, responsible people can't just say, I'm putting in 4 children into this world. How am I going to pay for this? Who is going to feed them and stuff like that, right? Like people, the higher educated people get, the most often they don't choose to get kids at all or adopt at some point, right? Because they can still go working and shit like that.
Yep. Which is a sad state of affairs. This is what I've said many, many times, the fact that our grandparents' generation is not our generation. Our grandparents grew up, most of our grandparents grew up in a generation where they got married, they bought a house, they had that house paid off within 10 years, they bought a car. Hell, once you had the house paid off, you went and you bought a cottage, or you bought, you started already saving up for your children's wedding, for your children's education, and you saved up for retirement, and you had a nice retirement condominium. That's not available anymore. And you talk about, again, we talk about debt slavery, and we talk about, well, look at kids. They come out of high school and they want to go to university. Oh, there's $100,000 in debt. Unless mom and dad is, independently wealthy, or they're a super genius and get a free ride, $100,000 debt, and you're like, 22 years old. Come out of school and you've already got that debt on top of you. But anyways, to get back to what we're talking about. So this is the thing. We've got, oh, there we go. It was A Wrinkle in Time with Momo. There we go. That was the book. The movie was called A Wrinkle in Time, and the book, we watched The Wrinkle in Time with the Unfuckers. What was that? Oh God, this summer, past summer, we watched it. Bossy. That is, what's her name from that movie? What's her name? Can't stand her. Oprah. Yeah, disgusting human being. If you want to call it.
Was it Oprah in that movie?
Oh yeah. Oprah and her face cream made from little boys' foreskins. Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
No, I thought you meant that movie I was talking about with the little kid and the time bandits or whatever.
Oprah was in that movie.
No. That's not the movie. I'm talking about an 80s movie.
Okay. I don't know if they made the movie.
There was a movie called Time Bandits. I do remember, but I forget what year it was.
Time Bandits? Maybe. So anyways, yeah. So we talk about the now. So we have to live in the now. And this is just it. And I think most of us would agree that the now fucking sucks. But it is where we are at the moment. And I think one of the biggest things that we need to do, how can I say that, is being present in the now. And it's why I've been talking so much about things like community, about being involved in our community, making a difference in real life stuff, in real life instances, doing the things that you want to do, even if it means doing whatever, whether it's you love to paint or you love to tinker around with stuff, taking the time to actually be in the now and do these things. Making time for our families, making time for our friends, if that's the case. The families that you choose to be with, I will add, because all of us know we all have biological families that we really don't want to have any part of. Can't choose the family you were born into, unfortunately. But this is our family here, right? The Unfuckers is our family.
I can remember a time my aunt telling me that her and my grandmother were both pregnant at the same time. Like, that, to me, that is totally weird. Like,
oh, I see that all the time here. You got to live in a Mediterranean country. Oh no, Nancy, don't even fucking get me started on that one. Seriously, now you can sue them because you did not consent to being born. Yeah, that guy, that's just a propaganda. Like that's just a get me some attention, your 15 minutes of fame type shit. Because that is just so asinine as to be beyond anything. Yeah, no. Yeah, no. Megan, okay, this is one of those times when I get so excited, Danny, because you're speaking astrology and you don't even know it. Okay, explain to me, how am I speaking astrology? Because I don't even know it. I know. Yeah. Well, you know what, Danny, you might be right. We may need to rename astrology because it's got a bad name now. It's got a bad rep. As I always say, I can only talk from my own personal perspective, and say, I look at what's going on around me and I take in the information that's going on around me, and I have to make decisions based on that. So, I mean, you guys know, for example, I'm an old school prepper. So with all the shit that's going on right now, I'm well back into my prepper stuff again. Because I can feel it in my bones that this shit is fucking happening and going on. And I need to feel that I'm doing in my now what I have to do to look after my family. Yeah, that's my gut. My gut goes into that mode. It says, okay, I need to look after my family and my friends. So therefore, I'm going to do what I feel I need to do in the moment. Because everything around me that I'm watching shows me that it's fucking insane out there. Fucking insane. But Megan just said something now, and I missed it. Hold on, scrolling back up. Come on, scroll. The North Node is where the universe wants us to point. Sorry, I'll try reading that again, this time in English. The North Node is where the universe wants us to point in the given moment, and you're speaking of those themes. Community. So is that what North Node is? Is that, like, I don't know. Like, is that what we're doing right now? Are we supposed to be talking? Is that what astrology is telling us, that it's time to, like, hunker down and get into community? No, I mean, listen, family is key. But like I said, not necessarily biological family, because I think most of us here in our lovely little happy group can attest to the fact that our biological family are not the people we would have chosen to have spent our life with. I know Star and I can agree on this one, definitely.
I just wanted to say real quick on that. Yeah, I've thought about this. Yeah, much even recently. So even before, we started. It's like, it's like, I swear I got switched at birth. It's like, makes no fucking sense after I think all this shit. Like, did I really get switched? It's so bizarre how all this shit happened.
I know. Trust me, Star, I ask that question all the fucking time.
It makes no sense. It makes me think of the.
I was gonna say, for me, I am literally apparently the twin of my dad's cousin. Like, to the point that even my family in England, when they've met me when I was younger, we're all like, "Oh my God, you're your cousin Sheila!" Like, exact. So apparently there's a genetic crossover semblance there. But other than that, yeah, I must have been switched at birth. I always say that. This can't be my family. Please don't tell me I'm saddled with these people. And we're not. Sorry, but you choose your family. Once you get to our ages, I think that we go out and we choose our tribe. That's it. We choose our tribe. We find our tribe, and then that's who we are, the people that we work with. And community is so important right now. Community is so important. So, like I said to you guys earlier, and I just put a brief announcement in the Unfuckers Facebook group just a couple of hours ago, that, like, I've made a Zoom here on Zoom. I've made a Zoom chat room for the Unfuckers. Because Messenger and Facebook has gotten so fucking erratic and so fucked that I wanted to have us to have a secondary place where we can, pardon me, I got a bad case of the burps tonight. Dinner is not sitting well. Where we've got a secondary means of communication. Because right now, the most important thing that we have, in my opinion, is each other. The most important thing that we have is each other. When it comes to having the support for each other on an emotional level, the support that we have for each other just in being able to talk, just to be able to communicate, you know that you've got people you can talk to who will actually comprehend what you're going through and the fucking shit that you've been through, that when you have your hard day. Really, Laura? I don't know. Yeah, like my stomach is all day today. My stomach is just not my friend at the moment. Community is everything. And like I said, unfortunately, we all don't live in the same town. As you know, I've always joked, Unfucker Island, here we come. We're going to try and find this Unfucker land where we can all be together. But at least we have the ability right now to kind of reach out and touch each other online, if nothing else. And we've got to be there for each other. Because, listen, it is fucking insane at the moment. It really, really is fucking insane. And to me, I think that's the only way we do move forward. Right now, the best way to move forward, if you will, and be present and be moving forward is to be within your community and working within your community. But also reaching out into your physical community too, because I think that's really, really important that we have things that we can offer in our physical community, like our local community, if you will, that we can help other people out. Even if it's just sharing a bit of knowledge, even if it's just a smile, even if it's just, I don't know, reading a story, something. Yeah, and unfortunately, yeah, like their people are fucking going insane around us, everywhere. Drivers in Malta this last couple of weeks, oh my fucking God. A, it's not safe to even be walking on the sidewalks. B, all these people have got their heads up their own asses. I swear to God. And I've heard it from everyone. Like people are going, Toronto is just as bad. I had a friend of mine who was in downtown London who almost saw a bus take out another bus. And she was just like, you watch it happening and you're going, no, he's not. No. And you're watching it almost slow motion and the guy almost. Like, and how can you miss a freaking bus, miss another bus, not see another bus? So, yeah, there's a lot of darkness. There's a lot of dark people around us right now. I do have to say that I don't know that it's necessarily that people are dark, i.e. negative, horrible dark, but as in they're just so fucking confused. And if they don't even have if we're struggling to deal with the emotional upheavals on a daily basis, and we kind of comprehend, at least somewhat on some level, the shit that's going on, how are these people fucking dealing with it? And literally, apparently the hospitals everywhere are fucking just packed out full. Hospitals everywhere. Psych wards, apparently, packed out full. Like, and it doesn't matter what country you're in. People are having themselves checked in. Yeah, road rage everywhere, etc. Oh, Joanna over on Twitch just said, I went out to my mailbox, looked up, and the moon is upside down. Yeah. Which always boggles my mind. How is it people are not noticing when the moon starts like like this?
Or that the sun is looking like a blotch in the sky. Like, I've seen weirdness about that too in some videos I've watched.
It's just, the weirdness in the sky has just gotten to the point of just, oh my God. It's just fucking weirdness in the sky. So I'm trying to catch up with the chat here. I've got like chat going off everywhere. Really, Nancy, every hospital down here was on redirect. Holy crap.
Yes, they were. My neighbor had a panic attack. She's my age. I knew her from high school, and her husband was in Florida, and she came over here last night, and she needed assistance because she has 2 dogs. And so I said, do you want me to drive you? She said, no, can you just take the dogs? And I said, you're by yourself, hon. You know, you can't be by yourself right now. So they called the ambulance, and she wanted to go to Oshawa, which is our neighboring town. And the paramedic says, you don't have a choice. They said, we're all on redirect right now. It's wherever you go. It could be Bowmanville, it could be Ajax, it could be Port Perry. So, yeah, that's how fast it was. Yeah, she ended up going to Ajax, which was kind of nice. For you guys that don't know, that's in the Toronto area. And that's like, we have a local hospital group, but all of them were on redirect. So I thought that was very interesting. That was last night, so.
Yeah. Well, I know, like here, in our little tiny island, the hospital was packed out. When Nick was in hospital last week, he was in the men's ward. There were 2 women in his room with him because they were just putting people wherever they had beds. Literally, it was like men's ward, women's ward, just doesn't matter anymore. Wherever there's a bed, we're going to have to just shove people in. Yeah, well, I mean, you guys out down there in Toronto area have had some wicked snow, and like just in a lot of North America right now has just had some retarded, ridiculous snowstorms. You have all those car accidents, etc., that always happen with that.
I just listed one. There's a 20 vehicle car crash on the 401 in Milton right now. Danny, the 401's closed. Earl would know what the 401 is, and everybody else.
I know where the 401 is.
Yep, I know what the 401 is. Nice off there,
and I
man.
have friends out in Milton too. I may have to send a message because she would.
Yeah, the highway's closed.
She'd go
westbound anyway.
Home tonight.
Hey, Dan.
Yeah, hun.
Back to the hospitals and people, I guess, getting into them for different various reasons. I had an experience about 10 days ago, so it was not this past Friday, but the previous Friday morning. My daughter was doing her normal routine. She's 19, and she's getting ready to go to work. And I heard this crash, boom, bam, in the shower. And I went, what the heck? I knew she was in trouble. So a long story short, she passed out, and the paramedics came. She was suffering from low blood pressure. And they thought she was anemic. So we took her to the hospital naturally. She checked out fine. By the time everything was said and done, they did the ESG. Is that what it's called? I can't remember. For the heart monitoring, everything checked out fine. ECG, pardon me. Okay, so that was 10 days ago. This morning, my niece messaged her daughter. The same thing happened to her daughter today. Same thing. Her daughter passed out, and exact same scenario. And I'm going, okay, coincidence, or is there something more to this? So I'll just kind of leave it at that. But to me, it was pretty weird.
We had a friend last week do the exact same thing. A friend of ours here in Gozo did the exact same thing, just passed out cold. And they rushed him into the hospital, and they did all the tests, and were like, you're absolutely fine. There's, not high or low blood pressure. Your cardiograms were fine, everything. Oh, yeah, that's right. Nano Girl, you said that. Nano Girl had that happen a couple of times, too, and she was like, what the hell is going on?
She mentioned that in her interview, she mentioned that it happened to her twice, but she was talking to her group of friends at work, or her coworkers, and one was feeling the same way. Same thing happened. And she said, twice I believe is a coincidence. And then the third person piped in, and she said, third time it's a trend. So I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, twice might be a coincidence. The third time, 3 people. Yeah, okay, wait a second. There's something going on here. Yeah, and I would say call out and say hi to Nano Girl if you're watching this. Thanks for the mention and the geomagnetic stuff that you guys were talking about on the show the other day. Well, this is it. I mean, for me, I look at the geomagnetics because things have calmed, if you will. We're not getting those massive blasts at midnight as often, and the ones that are coming in are not to the extreme that we were seeing in early and mid-January. But we're seeing weird shit happen.
Oh, it's Teresa. I was just wanted to speak this, and because we were talking about the present moment and what we can do and blah blah blah, and what you guys are talking about, the physical stuff. I've noticed a lot of people. I even heard Chris Geo even mention it, and I've been talking to a lot of my friends about it. We've been talking about it here too. The physical piece right now in the present moment, like understanding changes and adding in the correct things and all this kind of stuff. It seems like what I've witnessed is the people like, I've been taking your C60 for a long time, and I'm trying to do all these little things to, help me physically. And it almost feels as if when I read a lot of these symptoms and things that people are having, it's not that I haven't had any of them. They just haven't been to the extreme. And I'm wondering, in the present moment, we've been so used to, coming away from the body piece, this is our physical manifestation of the mind, whatever. But it almost feels like this is an extremely important piece right now, because I'm seeing it in the collective. I'm seeing people talk about it. Oh, I'm thinking about my body more. I'm trying to get healthier. I'm trying to, which is almost like a non-resistance. So when you're trying to care for it, it almost seems like it's helpful in, the magnetics and the energetics and all the stuff that we're facing right now. It just feels as if, doing a little bit of helping one another and assisting like you are, with the body piece is sort of like at the top of the list for me right now. And I hear it.
That's part of the being present, right? Like the part of that is really, I keep saying it, we have to be really listening to our instincts. Really, really listening to what our gut's telling us when it comes to things like what we're eating, what we're doing, what we're drinking, medicines that we use, anything like that. And I don't necessarily mean big pharma medicines. I also mean like the natural things that we've always used. It feels to me right now that it is so vital that we listen to ourselves and follow our instincts. Listen to the little voice in the back of your head that says, hey, you need a cup of peppermint tea right now. Or,
and the synchronicity of one another, because I saw you guys, and I've had it happen to me a lot too lately. Just all of a sudden, someone will speak like the salts, and everyone's thinking about it. Or someone will see something, and it's like a collective intuition as well that seems to be coming in. Yeah, and as well as which is awesome, I think, and that's why it seems to be so important right now.
And that's why I love when we have these discussions and we share this, like the whole thing about the salt coming up. And then so many people going, oh my God, yes, I'm craving salt. I'm like just insane cravings for salty food, salty anything. So, when you have all these people that are coming up and that's what that's what their body's telling them, there's got to be something to that.
Well, yeah, coincidence. And I'll add, that it's so wonderful to have so many wise people in here that have the true, practical knowledge. Like, craving salt and this and that doesn't mean, because the salts that are out there. I mean, I've found how many fake Himalayan salts are out there. I mean, how many? This is the challenge. It's like I'm trying to, determine. I found some. A cloudy olive oil in Aldi's recently, and I was like jumping up and down. I was so excited. It's the first time I ever found one. And so this is why unity is so important, because everything I learned from you guys that just assists so much. And I just, again, want to thank y'all for that.
Well, that's it. And that's community, right? Sharing our knowledge, sharing our experiences, sharing our intuition and what paths that we're on. Because like I said, when coincidentally a whole bunch of people are all feeling to look into a certain thing at the same time, there's more to it than just being coincidence. When people are talking on these different things, we bring knowledge to the table. I've learned so much from everyone in this group. People, you have no idea, like so many awesome little bits and pieces of knowledge that come in. And that's part of community. When I talk about community, I mean it in the greater aspect too, of like what we have to teach each other. Whether it's health, whether it's healing ourselves, whether it's feeding ourselves properly, how to make something, how to, these are all the things that we can share. And that is one of the most important aspects of community as far as I'm concerned. Oh, Anne, because we were talking about the cell salts, so Anne and I have not arranged the cell salt show yet. The gentleman we want to bring on to talk about this is just been ridiculously busy, so with work, etc. So we're still working at getting that show set up. But Anne, you had some information. You were talking about the was it the Helios salts or the Highland salts? I can't remember now.
I contacted a few different people. I'm still not clear in my own mind, actually, about, I need to read Schussler's original work, because I would say that cell salts are supposed to be made in a slightly different way to homeopathic remedies.
Yeah.
Now, that's my feeling. However, anybody that I've contacted, and that includes Helios, makes the cell salts the same way that you would make a homeopathic remedy. So, so that leaves me with questions. Because I haven't used them myself in practice, I can't say, yeah, this one works and that one doesn't. I know there are people out there saying that Highlands are no good and Schusslers are no good, and I contacted Miranda Castro yesterday, and she sent me back the response she got from the pharmacy who make her cell salts. And I'm pretty sure Miranda wouldn't be selling them if they didn't work, because she's a very big name in the natural health homeopathy world. Yeah. So she has cell salts on her website. She lives in Florida, so these would be ones you could get anywhere in the US. I'll post that on her link on the UU, or actually here, I could do that in a few minutes.
You better drop it to me in a private message so I can make sure I put that link into the archive.
So, I mean, I would say, I know some people have already started on the bioplasma combination. And Sheila's saying, just started Highland, is it no good? I don't know, Sheila. I've never used Highlands. So sort of going back to what Danny was saying, we really need to tune into what we need ourselves. And I use dowsing or muscle testing. And I would check any supplement before I take it myself, just to see, is this a good one for me? Highlands could be fine for one person and not work so well for another.
Exactly.
So all you can do is tune into yourself, test if you can, and see what happens. That's about all I have to say.
Hey, Ann, I did notice a difference between the Highlands and the one that I use. I can't remember the name now. Do you remember? Oh, it's right here.
Yeah, it began with an L, didn't it? Lutyens or something. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Do you have the name of that you could put in the chat, Dawn?
I'm at the table right now. I'll put it in the UU room when my computer comes back up. Yeah, I wanted to also add in that I did get a notice from it's Luyties,
Luties, yeah.
That's it.
They sent me an email saying that the laws have changed, and now I guess they used to not have to collect tax when they sold out of state, any of the homeopathic companies, but now they've passed a law that says that they have to collect tax from everyone. So now everybody's pricing is going up. Isn't that a hell of a timing, isn't it?
That's what's happening to Anne right now too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they're trying to tax us all out of it. They're putting 23% VAT on all food supplements in Ireland in next month. There's like 10% on junk food, and now we're being asked to put 23% on things that are good for you. Ha! Figure that one.
Wait, how much is the tax on junk food?
It's 0 to ordinary food is 0, right? And as far as I know, junk food is like 12%, something like that.
So junk food's only 12% tax, but anything that's health food, like as in like things like homeopathics and natural like herbalism and supplements are going to 23%.
Yeah.
And no one sees the irony of this?
We see the irony of this.
What's the tax on the pharma stuff then? Is that zero?
It's probably
is
zero
that tax free?
I think it's 0, Bassie. I think it's 0.
Oh God, I hope you're kidding.
No.
No, it's a bad joke. Same thing here. Like I said, taxes here are going up, and every time I turn around with my business, it's the same thing. Like Gaia's Garden, every time I turn around, there's another new piece, and you're just like,
another asshole rings at your door and says, "You got a nice stack of money there. We like to have some of this, right?" Assholes.
They'd like to have all of it. They don't want to have some of it. They want to have all of it.
But then again, riddle me this: why the fuck are the biggest companies in the world are evading taxes and going tax-free? I mean, yes, of course, they are taxing the employees till kingdom come, so to speak, but they are not taxing the corporations, right? I mean,
I know. That's none of these big corporations pay fucking tax. That's what the whole thing. And yet the little guys like us, we got our tax bill this first week of January. And you got to love how when you file your taxes with the government, they take 3 months to pay you, 4 months to pay you. But when we got our tax notice, it was like, yeah, you have till tomorrow to pay us. Literally, that's what it was. It was like, here's your tax notice. This is what you owe. You have to pay it by tomorrow.
But isn't that a sign for the system to collapse? I mean, non-topic related, I noticed especially the streams of series or movies uploaded literally get axed the day after. Like something comes out on Sunday evening, it's already axed the morning when I want to watch it. There's like, whose lawyer is working on a Sunday?
Oh, well, listen, I mean, you're in Germany. So
yeah, exactly. That's why I meant whose lawyer is working on a Sunday.
When they passed that EU bill about the privacy shit, how it affected photographers in Germany, there were like lawyers like circling vultures instantaneously the day after. And any photographer who had a piece of work on their website that had a person in the picture, say you're taking a picture of a beautiful church.
Not only the person, but also the view. Literally, if there's the Cologne Dome in the background,
they want a piece. They're taking and I'm charging them, and it was insane. Like literally the day after, my ex got like multiple pictures, and he was scrambling, like trying to go through his whole portfolio because you could, you know, as an artist, you have shit that spreads all over, like the stuff not just on Facebook, but it gets spread out across the web. And he was scrambling to pull down photos, and some of his best pictures, some of his award-winning pictures, he had to pull down because there were people walking by in the street in the background.
Yeah, I've had an issue with face painting by Jellyboo, because I've taken photographs of children in the past and said to the parents, is it all right to take photograph and put it on the web page? I've had to pull a load of pictures that I know that I haven't had parental permission, and now from now on it's almost like I've got to have written permission to take a photograph,
Yep.
So the way that I'm getting around it now is, would you mind sharing your photos onto my page? So it's them that's putting it onto my page. Otherwise,
Yep.
that's the only
That's
way I
a
can
good
get
way of
around
doing
it.
it, actually. Gail, that's a
Yeah.
really good way.
Speaking of ridiculous shit, over here in Germany, it is now illegal if you get a business card, and in fear of losing your business card, you want to take the phone number of that company or whatever, or the person, into your cell phone. You have to ask for a written.
Yeah, I've also got
Written thing.
round that as well. I've had T-shirts and hoodies printed with my logo and my telephone number on the back. And if they ask for a card, I say, no, you can take a photograph of my hoodie. So they have taken a photograph of my hoodie.
That makes sense too. That's a good one. Oh, I like that. Gail, you're smart.
Seriously, where did we go wrong that we ended in ridiculously land? I mean, seriously.
It's everywhere, Bossy. Like, we're talking about one little teeny piece this big, but it is literally everywhere.
Part of the matrix, the
every
tapestry.
single aspect of our reality right now is like this. It is asinine. And like I said, not a day goes by that I don't see at least one thing. Usually it's 10 or 20, but at least one thing every single day that literally makes me sit back and go, what the fuck? Like, literally, what the fuck? This can't be real. This, like, how can this be happening like this? It's so asinine.
Why aren't there millions of people in the streets right now? Exactly.
It's politically correctness going to like extremes that we never thought it would go. Like,
yeah, don't even get me started on that one.
Hey,
I will never be politically correct. I'm just going to put this out here right now. The chances of me ever being politically correct.
Hey, I want to let. I don't know what state it is. I think it's New Jersey, but their mayor is. I don't know if it's mayor or governor, but anyway, they're signing a law and they're going to instill a rain tax on them.
Yeah, I heard about this.
What?
Yes, it's so out there. I haven't even read up on it, but people are up in arms. A rain tax because of all the flooding. I don't know.
that will teach the flooding, right? The flooding will never do it again after this tax, right?
I'll look into that, but it's crazy. If I lived there, I'd be pissed off.
Allison just said we had a rain tax instigated on us in Maryland 8 years ago. Are you fucking kidding? Like, what, is there going to be a snow tax in Canada next? We need a what the fuck list. Yeah. I don't know that they make a piece of paper long enough to write the what the fuck list that we would compile.
If you're going to institute a rain tax and all this weather type taxes, you might as well start taxing God and, send God a big freaking tax bill.
Yeah, and yet the churches don't pay any fucking tax.
Never did, never on the land or anything. But seriously, Earl, I think if they go that far to tax God, I think we might finally have some divine intervention, like a middle finger in the sky and the text next to it, fuck it, suck it, or something like that.
That's the fucking end. I'm done. No, I'm fucking done anyway, so it doesn't even matter. Yeah, I don't know. This is what I'm saying. Like, reality is so fucking insane at the moment that I can't even fathom it. Like, every fucking day. So wait, okay, Joanna at Twitch, on the Twitch chat, just said South Carolina attempted to tax puddles and larger bodies of water. Are you fucking kidding? MKB40 just said in Twitch as well, said in Utah, homeowners pay $4.99 a month for rain that falls on their property. Are you kidding?
But the big question is, are they allowed to keep the rain and put them
Yeah,
into
exactly.
barrels?
So if they tax you on the rain, can you collect that rain then in a barrel and say, well, I paid taxes on it, so it's mine. You can't do that. This is the shit that I'm talking about. When things get this asinine, like this level of fucking epic insanity. I don't even knock it, Teresa. Flatulence tax they're trying to do in California, tax cow farts. Because
Oh, didn't you hear the newest Green Deal that popped the day after? They were trying to outlaw cows' farts. I mean, literally. That was in the text before they pulled it.
Yeah, I know. I'm just like, there's no words. There's no words. And this is where I just sit there. Like, if there's any one piece, if there was any one piece that makes me sit there and say, this has to be a simulation, this can't be fucking real, it's this kind of insanity. This kind of ridiculous fucking epic insanity of taxing rain, taxing puddles, taxing cow farts. I mean, literally, when we get to this level, like there's just this part of me that says, oh, this has to be a simulation. This can't possibly be fucking real.
I mean, it can be possibly real. We had that in old Rome, right? That was the time when they inflated their money. There was no gold or silver anymore in their coins. They were taxing all the people in the cities because they couldn't tax the people on the land. Because on the land, the farmer would have said, oh, you come to collect pieces. I know my pigs are going to eat good tonight, right? Like, you're going to disappear. But see, this is what we have here. They tax everything. I saw there was a tax they want to implement on Netflix, on amusement, on video games, on literally. Is there a cunt in the future that sits next to me and says, "Oi, you played 4 hours today. You got to pay me $5."
Yep. Hey, don't knock it. It's moving in that direction.
I gotta go eat, guys.
Have a good night, Earl.
Okay, bye.
In the Popeye movie, there was asking a question tax. Hey, no, that one I kind of like, because when my now 9-year-old comes up and says, "But mommy, why this? Why that? Why this?" I could charge him a 25-cent tax for every question he asks, or maybe only every question he asks over and over again because he's forgotten what I've responded. There we go. The first question is free, but if I have to repeat the question, if I have to repeat the answer, you're going to get taxed on it. Oh. Seriously? Yeah, I just... Yeah. You guys are funny. Oh, man. Oh. Okay, why does the auto mod in Twitch keep holding fucking comments for swearing? Seriously? Apparently you can't say the word cunt on Twitch without an auto mod going in and holding the comment. 1111 Truth, just keep saying it. I don't fucking care.
It's because of the troll last week. I had to turn it on.
Oh, is that it? Oh, okay. I was like, what the fuck is going on? Oi, Finn.
I wasn't rusted on at work today.
What, so you went all the way to work and then didn't have to work?
Yeah, and as soon as I found out, so I've been listening to you guys for like the last hour on the way home.
Nice.
So I want to chuck in a couple of bits.
Okay, chuck your bits in.
Number one, salts. Please remember that salts are minerals. Minerals are governed by planets and zodiacs. Boom. 2, the reason they put taxes on shit is to direct the social agenda towards shit that, you know, away from what we're actually doing. So they wait for us to nutraceuticals as health, so we'll tax that more than everything else so that we can try and steer everyone back into another way.
Yep.
Yada, yada, yada. So, yeah, it's interesting times. I mean, right now we have rain over our house, and just on the other side of the hill is burning houses down. So it's getting real interesting.
Holy shit. The fires are that close to you now?
They're, well, when I say just over the hill, it's over the ranges. So they're about an hour away.
Oh, okay.
But that they moved overnight is quite phenomenal. So they're now into like burning. They're into townships, and houses are actually being lost. So yeah.
Holy shit. Holy shit balls. I mean, fucking insanity right now.
Well, Tasmania, I reckon, is more holy shit balls.
I know.
It's got snow right falling where it was burning literally days ago.
That's what I was talking about. Fucking
but
the entire island's on fire, and now it's snowing on it.
And it's still burning though. Like it's snow, but it's still burning. But that's the trip, right? It's like when we all, like we said yesterday in our couple of messages that we sent backwards and forwards, it's like you have a major charge, you're going to have a major discharge. So the North Queensland got flooded after fire, major fire. So major floods. One's a hot, one's a cold, one's a positive, one's a negative.
Oh, that
one has to discharge the other, and if they don't,
wait, didn't California?
Yeah, exactly. So, but Hawaii, yeah, and Hawaii. You remember Hawaii blew up and all the rest of it, and then it got smashed by a cyclone. It's like if we were to go back and look at the cyclone that Hawaii was smashed by, you probably find it was like a left hand or a right hand spinning cyclone, which is a major negative discharge to that positive charge that the volcano is putting out.
That's really, really fucking interesting, Ben. I hadn't even thought. Sorry, but the idea. Here's the thing, because you're saying about like the fire and the floods, for example. It's because I had a friend of mine who was in Southern California, and this would have been about 4 or 5 years ago, and they had all the fires, and I was like contacting her every day on Skype, like, how are you guys doing? How are you guys doing? And she was like, it's getting closer, and it got within 2 kilometers of their property, and they finally got it under control. And the next week, they had massive floods, like massive floods. And she was just ever so slightly elevated on her hill. So she was one of the only houses in her area that didn't literally get massively damaged.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, this seems to be what we're literally like what we're looking at is I mean, what was the summer like in America before this massive winter kicked in? Was it, oh, it's so sweltering and hot and things are drying and we're in drought, and oh, what happens? The fucking forests catch on fire and then they burn. And then the big rains come in, or the huge snow and winters come in. Now, if you look at what's happening naturally, now let's just say observationally societies learned that that's what happened. So if they were to preempt by burning, they could make it rain. It wouldn't kill everything. It wouldn't wreck everything, because by burning, you allow living things to actually come in, become stronger, because they've been fertilized from the salts of the fire, the minerals.
Yeah.
And then those things then boost everything else up. So you actually have a stronger environment, not a weaker one. So then you've got something that can handle these extremes. But we've depleted the natural environment so much that now it's doing what it does, which is basically it's trying to wash all the shit away. It's like I was speaking to my original brother this morning, and I was like, well, country gets what country wants. Like, this country needs to be burnt. It does. Properly, not the way it is. So right now we've got what's called big hot bushfires, which actually burns the top of the trees, right? In fire custodianship, first rule of fire is do not burn the canopy. But in this country, we have lots of trees with massive volatile oils in them, like eucalyptus and tea trees and camphor.
Yep.
Now, when this catches on fire and that then vaporizes, you have acid in the atmosphere. So the rain that you get from the hot fires is what? Acid rain.
Acid rain.
Creates more
so this is
minerals
naturally
around,
forming acid. So then, But Bessie, the thing is the volatile oil stored in the leaves of these trees, which we normally, when we burn, we do not burn. What happens is they burn, the gases of those oils go up. Those particles form water particles and rain clouds, and then it rains. But it's raining highly acidic oils back down, which then goes into the soil, burns the soil. You see that, so
And
you have
gives
this
new
thing
minerals,
where
right?
historic. But that depends. So you got to comprehend what I'm getting at. Acid rain. We freak out when things like cities are too smoggy. They talk about acid rain. Acid rain is detrimental, but nature can do the same thing. So you're right. Yes, minerals end up in the ground, but in the wrong format, which is these highly volatile oils that are being released from these trees, it burns and kills. It's acid rain. It's exactly the same as what happens in, so because of the wrong type of fire, we think, yay, we're getting this rain, which is great, it's going to put the fires out, but actually it's as detrimental or more so detrimental, because the type of rain is not good rain.
Come on, Bossy, just wait.
One second. You're talking about if the plant. Hang on. You're talking about if the plant gets its way, it creates the good stuff, and if the good stuff burns up, the good stuff comes down and gets resupplied. But the shit that we are having right now is getting the bad stuff.
No.
That's not what he's saying, Bossy.
No. What I'm saying is there's one format that creates a good
burn.
What would you call it? A good situation. So when we burn from the top down, which clears all the mass out. So when the rains come, nothing washes out and it doesn't fill up the waterways. But the way we burn it's called cold burn, which means that it only burns dead things. It doesn't burn.
We just lost Ben. It doesn't burn the living trees. It's the undergrowth, it's the brush that burns, not the actual living canopy. And that's what he's talking about. These fires that are happening are burning the canopy, which is the one thing that we never want to have happen.
Yeah, and so what I was saying, Bassie, is when we burn the ground, it burns. What it does is it turns all the dry carbon matter into mineral. If the flames get too hot, they burn the canopies of the trees. And in the canopy of the trees here especially is all the highly volatile oils. So you wouldn't bathe in eucalyptus oil. You wouldn't bathe in tea tree oil. Now, a little bit here and there. What I'm saying is because these fires have gotten so hot, they're actually burning everything, including the canopy. And that canopy is then releasing those oils, which in large quantities aren't safe. So what they then cause with the water is acid rain. So the rain that comes from these hot fires is not good rain for country. It's not good rain for the environment. It actually can have more of a detrimental effect. Does that sort of make sense?
Now, that's something interesting, Ben, because I never thought about that until you talked about those trees. Because one of the things that's been happening in Australia is all the breathing problems. And that's the thing. So there's one of your pieces to that could be is the fact of when you have that much of an essential oil and you're talking about extremely caustic, straight eucalyptus oil on your skin will burn you almost like battery acid. So if you have massive amounts of these oils in the atmosphere and people are breathing them, that could actually cause some serious breathing problems. Like this is one of those things. Eucalyptus oil for when you have the flu or a cold, one drop is brilliant to help clear your sinuses. A bucket full is could literally scorch the insides of your lungs.
So then to add on top of that, you saw, because I think I sent you the link straight away. There's a farmer up north whose ground in his cattle yards has started smouldering, right, from the ground up. So I'm sort of sitting here looking at it, and I'm like, well, there's a few potentials that we can put into this equation. So you've got to take out of the fact that ground is burning, right? Because it's not necessarily proper soil. It's got antibiotics. It's got other chemicals that medicines that the cows have had to eat and shit out. Yep. It's also possibly had drench stuff on there, as well as fertilizers and potentially glyphosate, all these things. So right now, when we know that we're in a flux of microwave and high UV, we need to start looking at what these chemicals and that reaction. So let's say he's up in North Queensland. We're looking at 40 to 45 degrees. The ground is fucking hot, people. I just did a hangi last weekend, and we were trying to check the temperature with our laser thermometer. And the ground, not even near the fire, I mean meters and meters and meters away, was 53 degrees on Saturday. The ground. So, we've got to start compiling all this sort of data, and we know that these chemicals are dangerous. They all say on the thing, do not store over 30 degrees, or do not store over 20 degrees, or store in a cool, dark place.
Yeah.
Blaring sun in thermal mass is not a cool, dark place.
Yeah.
So it's, and it's much the same, I want to add in here too, is because we've been growing different types of mushrooms. And one of I did an experiment where I took one of our blocks that we'd been growing on, because I wanted to see if the mycelium would take onto a Hessian sac. And it started taking, and then everything sort of went a bit awry. So I went and put them in our mushroom cave, which is a bit more temperate and cold and dark, right? And things started retreating, like the mycelium started disappearing. I was like, what the fuck is going on here? This is like, you're in your prime state. You're in your prime state. But it wasn't. It was in the sun. Like prior to that, it had been not in the sun direct, but it had been out. But what the mycelium has done is it's retreated back into the middle of the core. So I only have this mycelium in a block that's like, let's say 2 kilos. There's about 150 to 200 grams of mycelial mat that's retreated back into the center. So I'm sitting here going, okay, well, if mycelium's going to do that and the soil's up around 53 degrees, then I'm wondering if the mycelium from the top of the soil is retreating down further. And therefore, what that does is mycelium normally stores water. So it's the water table itself is lowering because of the biology having to escape these temperatures and these UVs, which is not what they like. So in nature's acting accordingly, and it's starting to, because of the way that nature is acting, it's starting to correlate to a lot of these effects that are happening. So for all there were pictures of the ground smoldering in California fires, right? And things like that. So it's like, could the fire have started off with something like this that literally has happened naturally? It's going to look like someone lit a fire because it looks like that, but actually it's just all these components that have finally created the perfect storm.
Well, this is one of the things, and Nick and I have had tons of conversations on this, because Nick and I both grew up in areas where we spent a lot of time in the forest and we outside and doing stuff in nature. Nick being from northern BC and me spending a lot of time in northern Ontario. You were always taught, and I remember from being young, that if there's been if there's been thunder and lightning or anything like that, that when you're out walking, you watch the ground, you watch the trees. And because there are times where you can touch the ground and find a smoldering hot spot. Because lightning has happened. There's been lightning, and it starts a smoldering fire underneath the ground. Same thing, trees on fire burning from the inside for the same reason. You get the ground starts smoldering, and it gets up into the roots of the trees, and you'll find trees burning on the inside. No, that's not a dew weapon. I'm
You
sorry.
just-
That's nature. We've been looking out.
Yeah, so you
That's
just-
one of the things you're told to
you
look
just-
out for when you're hiking.
Sorry, D. You
No,
just
it's okay.
triggered me. I put a poster up on Facebook again, and I don't know whether you saw the water tank. Has anyone seen the water tank I posted up? So up in North Queensland, there's a dry lightning storm, and so it's a 20,000 gal. So no, what is it? 10. Oh fuck, I can't even remember what a 20,000 litre water tank. I was trying to do it in gallons. Anyway, the post said dry lightning storm, lightning struck water tank and melted the whole water tank down to the water level. So there was only a quarter of the tank was full of water, and the whole thing melted down to the water level. So what we're now also seeing is that water, right, being the most magnetic thing we know, and therefore the dipole to our electricity, so it can store it and take that charge, and then it can dispel it, which is why so it's like not a conductor, a capacitor. So it'll take it, but if it's touching something else like you or me or whatever, it will also then discharge back out into the ground. So on top of that, if the mycelium and the bacteria that normally store the water in the top layer of Earth are retreating from this heat, any kind of lightning that hits that, the soil itself is going to be so dry and high of mineral salts, that those salts under that load will catch on fire.
Yep. And we are talking about discharge too. Like, we're not just talking about lightning, we're talking about ground lightning. And we're seeing more and more of it. Like I said, we started talking about this in 2014 and 2015, when in clear blue skies, you have a group of school children get fucking blasted with lightning in Germany and in France. And it was ground lightning coming up, which is a discharge. Now, this whole thing with Russia and the big article, like I said earlier, seeing fucking electrical discharge explosions in the atmosphere when there's no storm. There's no clouds. Because the planet is discharging.
So, well, it's creating, like, you almost look at that as the pulse from the Earth, because it'll come down here if it needs to. But if the charge is pushed out, so if lightning is a positive charge and Earth is negative, what's happening is there's generally positive charge that's being captured in the Earth and trying to get back to positive. They're trying to connect. It's trying to discharge that positive back out, which is then, once it reaches, the charge is complete, which then lights the lightning up. Whereas if you've got sprite lightning and these things that are atmospheric lightning, then what you're actually witnessing is two atmospheres playing with each other, as opposed to it needing to go to Earth to ground out. Well, it means you've got a negatively charged atmosphere and a positively charged atmosphere interacting. Mm-hmm. And when you have ground lightning, that one there is not there, and Earth is the Earth, is the ground.
Yeah.
So we're going to notice more. We're going to we're going to notice more of this, with more water trying to leave the planet and going into the atmosphere, because there's going to be more magnetics in our air, IR, than there was. There's a higher magnetic charge in our air. We might not have the magnetosphere, but the more water we have in our atmosphere, the more magnetic our atmosphere becomes.
Ben, do we maybe reach one point when we cannot ground anything anymore because the, let's say, Earth's capacitor is full and you can't ground anything anymore?
One of my questions on that is to do with the magnetic field. And that feeling that you can't ground. Like, we talked about this on Sunday, last Wednesday, I don't know. The fact that those of us who have been doing grounding for years and years and years and years, it's become difficult And I did it the other day. I was sitting on the beach. We had one bit of sunshine. And I stuck my hand in the ground. I was trying to literally ground, and you could feel it was like there was a lacking sense of being able to fully ground. And I'm wondering if that is as the magnetics are becoming lower and lower.
I'll
Go ahead, Ben.
I'll chuck a piece in there. So first and foremost, what is grounding? So we'll go through this whole kind of deep immersion-y thing, right? So what is grounding? So instantly, everyone's attachment to grounding is barefoot on the earth. Grounding is discharge. That's what it is. What I meant. You're earthing a charge to the greater mass, so it takes it. So what we're looking at is we're going to our instant attachment, which is shit, I need to put my feet on the earth. But that doesn't necessarily, that's not grounding necessarily. Grounding is discharging. So then what we need to look at is what are we trying to discharge? Where is the build-up? Where is it coming from? What emotional trigger am I, so you would go back. So what's it bringing up? What's the emotion? Oh, what is that attached to? And then what do I need to do to release that? Because just washing yourself with cold water on your face is essentially something that will discharge. Water will take it. Water will take it. Having a cold shower can wash it off. Having a hot shower can wash certain things off. It depends on the charge, because that's what it's all about. See, grounding isn't grounding. Grounding is discharging. Yep. Grounding is letting out that charge that is becoming so much. See, this is where a lot of Jerry Tennant stuff comes into play, with your teeth being capacitors. And I had this thought the other day, because one of the girls at work has got an inflamed tooth. And I was like, which molar is it? And I was like, well, that molar is your liver and your kidneys. And I know you've been playing a bit hard. So perhaps what happens is one of two things. You've either been overrunning your system, and therefore, because your teeth are capacitors, so they will either store charge and then release it to the circuit that needs it and what they're attached to, or the circuit is running, too much, and therefore they'll store as much as they can, but when they've got too much, they need to discharge it. So in that respect, it's like the same with our teeth. If you're getting bits and pieces of pains in there, it's capacitor that is being reached that needs to be discharged. And so what we're now seeing is in our aches and pains, is we're witnessing our different circuitry starting to go through morphs and changes as the fields that we're interacting with are also changing. So grounding is more about that meditative state of being able to bring it into a space that you can discharge it. It no longer is that build up. It becomes something else. You're allowing it to be released. Yeah, but so grounding becomes something different in this realm. But regardless, being able to discharge has in the last year or two become more difficult. And I get kind of what Bossy was saying, of whole thing of like, if we're discharging energy, I'm not caring whether you want to call it emotional energy, you want to call it whatever, doesn't matter. And the earth is a giant capacitor. And that capacitor is fucking full. Is that one of the reasons why we find it so difficult to make that connection, to make that discharge? Because that's exactly it. Like there's... I'd try and say, how about we don't call the earth a capacitor and we call it an inverter? Yeah, so okay. It's inverting things that are coming out that are external. So in it inverting, we then have to also invert how we interact and discharge as well. So it's like what we're talking about. It's like if the universe is going through a polarity shift, then all the interacting players in that are going to go through their polarity shift to balance. And down the tiers, will happen as well. So there is a potential chakra spin shift or charge shift. There is a potential need for that your feet may be going positive instead of negative. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
I know, but
there's all these different things, and that
I get it, Ben. I get it, but I'm bringing it back to the simple. I'm bringing it back to the simple. The planet is discharging everywhere. Well, this is what I'm talking about. Russian satellites are seeing massive discharges. The planet is seemingly pulling up, like I said, all these different effects that we have seen across the planet, right? The energy buildup feels like this. Like this. So when we're talking about the simplicity of the I'm not trying to get into the deep, heavy, because we're already 10 minutes over time as it is. I'm literally talking about the simplest, bring it back to the simplest, that there is a change. Let's even put it there. There is a change in the perception of what we call grounding. There's a change in the energy. There's a change in the field, if you will. Now, we couldn't be talking polarity, because you and I have talked about the whole polarity thing. If polarities are flipping, and we get into the whole magnetics as well, north and south poles, et cetera, and is that one of the things that we're starting to see? Is, i.e., if we've got negative polarity coming up and we're putting negative polarity down, it doesn't gel anymore.
Can I chuck something in? The reason it might feel like it's going like this is if I take it back to the most basics that I can think of, water. You have right now we have the UV rays interacting with water, which means that water is being separated into the atmosphere at a higher ratio. It means that water is going to be getting heated. So our atmosphere is going to be more highly positively charged.
Okay.
So what I would say as far as like your grounding, like, because that's what the discharge, the way to discharge at the moment that would be more guaranteed than anything is very, very cold water. Because very, very cold water is going to be negatively charged.
Right.
It cannot hold other stuff because 4 degrees is water's prime. So the way to ground will be that. And I would say that the reason things feel, I guess what you were saying is denser, D, like it feels like it's getting denser. It's not necessarily so much because of that kind of a thing, like a push, but it's think of it like that. The levity is kicking in and everything is expanding. So it's expanding, but it's expanding more into less.
Okay, I think we're going to cut off that conversation right here, because otherwise you and I are going to go on for another hour, and I don't have it in me at this point. It's 12:12 right now, everyone, because if we're going to talk about multiple numbers again, it's 12:12 again. I'm going to wrap it up here. I want to put a call to say hi to all you guys over there on Twitch. So glad that you guys could join us. We get into, for those of you who are new on Twitch, we get into some really, really deep and strange conversations. If you hang around, we'll start to catch on to some of the stuff that we're talking about. So on Friday, this Friday night, so what's that, the 15th, Friday the 15th, I think. I am going to be doing a special presentation. We're going to be, what the hell, Ben? Holy shit. Muting Ben, because I don't know what just exploded from his damn device. I'm going to be doing a special presentation. We're going to be talking about C60 fullerenes. Okay? I'm going to be getting into some various aspects, but one of the big aspects I'm going to be talking about is specific to this conversation we've had today is radiation, the ultraviolet radiation that is massively, massively increased. So we're going to be getting into that topic tomorrow. If anyone's got questions on about the C60 fullerenes, bring them to the table for the chat. We will be doing We will be doing I'll do the presentation. We'll do a few of the questions and answers. After the live stream, though, with the members and the Zoom audience, we'll be doing more of a question and answer where we can talk personal type stuff if people have got personal type questions. We'll get into that. Will not be public because I don't give dosing and I don't give recommendations because by EU laws I can't do that. But if it's a private conversation, then we can talk. Tom the Milkman, I have no fucking clue. I've never heard about gas leaking out of the streetlights that make you more stupid. I have not a clue. So yeah, join me on Friday night. It'll be same bat time, same bat channel, 10 p.m. CET, which is 4 p.m. EST for those of you in North America. It'll be approximately probably about an hour long. So it will be, like I say, the first half of it will be live streamed on Twitch. And then we'll go into the question and answer, which will be only available for members and those in the Zoom audience. So bring your questions to the table. Yeah, we'll be back. Sunday night is going to be Fringe Night again. And we are working on, Ann and I are working on getting the discussion together for the tissue salts as soon as we can get a hold of a time with Mark that we can all coincide our times up because Mark's been really, really busy. So that's it for us tonight. I'm glad everyone was here to join us, and we'll talk to you Friday night for C60. Bye, guys.
One small step